Hey everyone, back with another video. Thanks for coming back to the channel. Today I wanted to share an example of how you can use AI to help you win a poker tournament. Really, this video is more than just how to use AI to help you win a poker tournament. I hope that it serves as an example of how else you might be able to use AI. There's no doubt that there's a lot of concern around the impacts of artificial intelligence in our society and in our work lives. I created this channel to help people get the benefits of AI, understanding that this is probably an unstoppable wave of technology that is going to wash over our society and our work lives. So a friend of mine told me that he used AI to help him do really well in a poker tournament, and I'm going to share that story with you today. This friend, he's what I'd call a good gambler. He's been gambling for a long time, and he enjoys the rush. And I've seen him do really well, not just in poker, but in slot machines as well. And I would call him a typical user of AI, meaning he's not involved in technology or in the tech industry. He's just an everyday person, but he is leaning into the technology and looking for ways to use it. And every so often he'll call me about really interesting ways he's used AI. So I'm going to share that with you all today. And my goal is to not just reach those of you who play poker, but actually to share this powerful example that might spark an idea for you and how you can use it. So he was telling me he was at a poker tournament this weekend, and he told me that he placed second out of 187 people in this poker tournament. And he really felt that the AI strategy recommendations and insights that he was using throughout the tournament really helped him to follow a winning strategy. And what he told me was that the AI was telling him that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So it started to really challenge his conventional wisdom of how he might have played the tournament without taking the long-term view. And what I thought was so interesting were two things. One was that he told me there were some hands that he folded on that he normally felt were good hands, and he would have stayed in the game. And then second was just his openness to try out the recommendations and see what the outcome would be, really kind of going against your his normal tendencies. And what he told me was that it took some of the emotions out of the bets he would place, and the hands that he would fold or the hands that he would continue to play with. And I think I would even have trouble going against my natural tendencies in a situation like that with money on the line. But in the end, he placed second out of 187 other poker players. And this was the one time that he used AI to help him with his poker strategy.
Well, I play poker, periodically. Once a year, I'll usually enter a tournament. It's enjoyable. So I played a tournament on Saturday, and I lost on a hand that I thought I should have won. So I was like, man, these players that are, and I've been watching like the World Series of Poker lately on TV. So there must be a precise strategy of how to play to be able to be consistent and competitive and actually, be in the top percentiles of poker players. So I asked AI to give me, and the reason I asked AI right away after that loss was because I was entering a poker tournament the next day. It was just like a $60 tournament, no big deal. So I asked it to tell me in like was the world's best poker player explained to me how to play in a no limit hold'em tournament game, um, to be very competitive and win the tournament.
Let me ask you a question. When, like, take a step back. When you were first considering using the AI assistant for the tournament, what was the specific problem or the decision point you felt it could help you solve?
Well, it wasn't necessarily a specific problem. It was just not knowing, just because I got a hand that I thought was good, there's a lot more stuff that gets into it, and it can get very mathematical, right? Of card
Mhm.
combinations and stuff like that. But when I asked it, I told it to simplify it as well, so I could understand. It actually did it um, on its own, where it just gave me the simple way. Like, if you don't in the very beginning of the tournament, it explained, everybody has the same amount of chips and how people would be playing more than likely. Um, and it said, if you don't have this card or up, in a pair, like eights are up, you're folding. So if you had, before, if I got a pocket anything, pocket threes, I'll be like, "Ooh, I'm playing. I got a great hand."
Mhm.
Um, and it gave me a different perspective. And then it told me, certain terminology that I didn't know. I asked it to explain, like, what's Broadway? Do you know what Broadway means in
No,
poker term?
no, what is that?
Broadway is 10 through ace. So
Okay.
anything 10 or above is Broadway. I never knew that, but while AI was talking, it kept referring to Broadway. I was like, what the heck is Broadway? Um, so I followed, I took and I didn't read it like it was going on for pages. And then I just took like the stuff that I thought I wanted to know, um, for one tournament. Like, there's only so much information you can absorb. Otherwise, I would just read a book.
Mhm.
Um, so I took the basics of what cards to play and what not to play, and I entered the tournament. Um, and out of 182 people, I stuck to the plan. I folded pocket sevens twice. I folded pocket sixes once, pocket twos once, like ace four, like stuff that I would usually play. I folded.
Mhm.
And 90% of the time that I folded, I get to watch the hand play out, and I would have lost if I would have went in. So that built confidence, like, okay, it's got me on the right track.
Mhm.
So we got to three tables left, and the amounts of players is on the board, like it tells you on the computer screen up top. So I went back to AI because it was bathroom break, and I said, okay,
You did this
I
during
just
the bathroom break where you like checked it again,
yes,
or okay,
yeah,
interesting.
I just turned it on.
Mid tournament.
Um, yeah, well, yeah, you can listen to. No, I wasn't in tournament. We weren't at the table. I never used it while we were at table. Um, but we had a 10-minute break. Every so often you get break.
I
So
see.
I went to the bathroom, and on the way back, walking back, I said, okay. I continued the same conversation in the app, and I said, okay, I have this many chips. There is 30 people left. Based off what you told me before, um, how should I conduct my play? Is it more aggressive? Is it, I wanted to know, like, do I loosen things up now because there's only 30 people left? And it told me no. It said, actually, great job. You're doing great. You're already in the top, whatever percent. Um, this is when you tighten things up and stick to the game plan, the most, until you get to the final table. And I followed what it said, and I got to the final table. I mean, it's not all from the AI, but it gave me the guidelines. It gave me the important guidelines without reading, you know, spending a month reading a book. I was able to get the important, bullet points within like 3 minutes of asking it. I retained that information, used it, asked it for some more pointers, and within 30 seconds, it told me what I need to continue doing. And I made it to the final table and then came in second.
That's really cool. I think what stands out to me is the situational use during the break, right? Not during play, but when you had a break. you're updating the context that it has around, like, now you're in the top, I think you said 30, and it's
Yes.
sort of like, and then you were able to give it some of that awareness. And did it give you like updated guidance, or kind of to say, okay, now that you're 30 people, here's what you focus on now,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. That's exactly what it did. And
Nice.
then it said you're going to follow these rules until you get to the final table, and then you can loosen up your play style based on your chip count.
And you mentioned something to me. You said, what you realized was that if you want to have what you're noticing is that you don't want to always play straight up, like where you're just playing by the cards. You're dealt. There's kind of, you talked about like it's a marathon or something. What was
Well,
what was the approach?
well, sorry. I'll go ahead, finish.
Yeah, no. What was the approach? You mentioned, like, you talked about like really like folding some hands that you normally would have bet, and so that meant you're taking a longer term strategy here towards the outcome of the tournament. And so I guess I was just wondering, like, what is your key takeaway around playing straight up, or kind of what you learned about sort of you know maybe folding some hands that normally you would have bet
It,
on.
it gave me the basic knowledge to know um guidelines. Like, let's poker's a little bit more complicated, but like, say you asked it about blackjack, it's gonna say, if you have these hands, like, never bet on, or never hit 16 or above. Like, it might tell you your odd. It's gonna calculate all those odds. So it just gave me the guidelines of what I should be doing. It's like, if you want to play and you want to be competitive, you're not doing the stupid things like this. And it weeded it out rather than me, spending thousands of dollars entering tournaments maybe, um, to try and hopefully have learned that the natural way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so cool. I had last like two questions here for you to help the audience learn from your example and how you used AI. As like a regular average AI user, right? Not a power user, but somebody who is learning and being curious and seeing what this technology can do. How easy or hard was it to get the assistant to give you the useful poker advice? Like, did you have to learn a specific way to talk to it, like prompting,
Not
or did it
not
just
at all.
understand?
Not at all. So like, I wanted, when you want advice, you want to tell it what point of view that you want. I don't want the losing point of view of how to play poker. I want to know from, like, um the professional, like the world's best poker player, how would he do? Or like the world's best doctor, or the world's best lawyer. Like, I want to know from the best, not just data. So I just asked it from that point of view, and then from then on, it was just ask the question. Um, Sometimes the questions are vague or too complicated, and you can tell it to, like, dumb it down, or be more precise about, like, when I asked it. So I was basically having a conversation with it, so it didn't take long at all, like minutes.
Nice.
um
How
I was
did
just
you?
having conversation, like when I said Broadway, and it mentioned it a few times. I said, explain Broadway to me. What does Broadway mean?
Yep.
And then it explained that, and it's kind of cool with the one that I have. I mean, I use Grok. I don't know what you use, but um you can literally go back to the conversation and continue it.
That's cool that you called out which AI you used. I use mostly ChatGPT and Gemini. I've tried Grok once or twice, but good call out in terms of which. I think people in the audience might be interested to know which one you used. Let me ask you this last question. So now that you've had this success using it, just this one time, where do you see AI fitting into your future, either for poker playing or for other everyday tasks?
um well, for the simple stuff, I'd like to try more complicated stuff. But I think those are paid subscriptions, so right now I just use the free stuff. Wherever I just want to get information that is not readily available without research or buying books, or learning it the hard way, I ask it for, like, bullet points. Give me a step-by-step guide on, how to build bigger biceps, or how to lose some weight, or how to lower your cholesterol, or, how to quit smoking. Whatever I ask it, I just want the simple step, and it just gives me, I don't take it like it's the Bible, but it gives me a good starting point to be able to either ask more questions or, move on with what I'm trying to do or what I'm asking it to help with.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing your story of how you used AI. And I hope that this sparks some ideas from people in my audience. So really appreciate it and hope to have you back on the show in the near future to maybe share some other learnings that you've figured out on how to use AI.
Sounds fun. Thank you.
So I would say the takeaway here is two things. It's about being curious, learning and being curious, learning more about AI, how you can use it, and picking situations in your life to apply it and just see if you get a different result, a better result. And in this case, it just so happened to be poker. And I think that's so important for all of us to get the benefits of AI. It's not going to be right all the time, that's for sure. And it can be convincingly wrong. But what I want to encourage you all to do is pick some situations, have fun with it, and try and see if it can be a valuable tool for you to help you achieve a better outcome than maybe you normally would have achieved. So that's the video for today. What ideas does it spark for you in how you might use some of these AI assistants to help you with your strategy, or in some other idea that you might have, where you can really challenge your typical decision making and maybe see if you get a better result. Leave a comment in the chat, in the comments section with some of your ideas. And if you like this video and you're inspired and it triggers an idea for you, please consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.